We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the November 29th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. My name is Shelley Buehler. I serve as Vice Chair of the Commission. Commissioner Cook is hopefully going to be joining us later on. So, also joining us this morning is Commissioner Bob Archer. Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, the first item, please.
First item is the proclamations presentations. Presentation of Shawnee County Mosquito Surveillance Program, Linda Oaks Health Department, and Dr. Christopher Rogers, Kansas University.
Good morning, Commissioners. It's a great day to be here. We're going to talk about mosquitoes, which you probably haven't been thinking about here recently with the snow outside, so hopefully you haven't seen one here recently. But if you really think about it, the end of mosquito season was just the end of October, so actually that was less than a month ago. And so really excited today to bring one of our partners. Dr. Christopher Rogers is here today. He is an invertebrate zoologist, which I learned is different than a zoologist, because there are people who study zoos, so I was saying that wrong. But he is an invertebrate zoologist with the Kansas Biological Survey. So I'm going to let him kind of finish up the introductions for what he does, but it's a great partnership that we have. We get some funding through the Kansas Department of Health and Environment to do the mosquito surveillance. We're one of 3 counties here in the state of Kansas that does this trapping, and it gives us an opportunity to kind of gauge what the levels of mosquitoes are here in our community and then develop some proper interventions around that. And it's also what allows us to do that wonderful Dump Day campaign that you all have seen throughout the summer months. So without any further ado, Dr. Christopher Rogers.
Thanks, Greg.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I realize that your time is valuable and short, so I'll go through this as quickly as I can, and if I'm going too fast, let me know, please. Okay. So my contact information is up there for additional questions, and it'll be on the last slide as well. So basically what you need to know, we've got 60 species of mosquito in Kansas, believe it or not, but not all those species. In fact, most of those species don't bite. And the only ones that do bite are the females, and they only do so when they've got eggs to lay. The reason being is they don't produce a yolk for their eggs. They need some sort of a protein source for their offspring, so they take a blood meal. I think it's lazy on their part, but okay. Of the species we have in Kansas, 39 have tested positive for West Nile virus, but only 8 of those species are likely to transmit West Nile virus to humans. We have 10 species here that are likely to transmit different forms of viral encephalitis, and we have both species here that have the potential to transmit Zika, and we have at least 2 species that can carry dog heartworm. So the diseases we have here, of course, West Nile virus, this has been pretty big in Kansas last several years, number of deaths. We've got Western, Eastern, St. Louis, and La Crosse forms of viral encephalitis being transmitted. Dog heartworm, it's not native here, but people brought dogs from the West, and it's now in our mosquitoes, and they're carrying them around. We do not have Zika virus or chikungunya virus here, even though we do have the species that can carry it. We have people here in this county who have these viruses. They traveled elsewhere, picked up the virus, came back. Could it jump into the mosquito population here? It's possible, but we've seen no evidence of that in the last couple of years. Everybody knows mosquitoes, stagnant water, it's a problem. This is primarily true for those species that carry virus. So, everybody knows about stagnant ponds, roadside ditches. Some of these culverts will be loaded with mosquitoes. Stormwater drains. Quite often you can get debris dams that form in there that back up, and you'll have these little stagnant ponds down there that the mosquitoes like to use. People like to throw tarpaulins over their firewood or boats or whatever, and all you need is some leaf litter to get in there and some water, and the leaf litter provides the food that the larvae need, and the mosquitoes will breed in those conditions. Everybody knows about general containers. Green swimming pools. You would not believe how many green swimming pools produce mosquitoes by the ton. Clogged rain gutters. Mosquitoes love those, absolutely love those. And abandoned rockwork fountains and things, people that, you know, when they have them, they don't maintain them or they don't run them. Quite often they can get mosquitoes there. The species that carry Zika and Aedes, this is one of the two, Zika and chikungunya. This is one of the two species. This is Aedes albopictus. Both species are not native to North America, but they have been introduced and they both occur here. But these are both tree hole species. They naturally occur in tree holes, but they're not averse to using other containers. People dump their garbage by the side of the road and leaf litter gets in there. You've got food resources for the larvae. You can even see the mosquito larvae here in this jar. People like their water gardens. Everybody knows about tires and dumping buckets. Gutter extensions. I mean, it's a great way to get water away from your foundation, but each of those little corrugations can hold a tablespoon of water, and each one of those tablespoons of water can have anywhere from 1 to 25 mosquito larvae in it. So what do we do to control them? Obviously, dump containers. Don't leave containers out that are going to gather rainwater, leaf litter, and whatnot. River, stream, large pond species, these are most easily controlled using fish. And if you are building ponds or stormwater retention basins, you want a good steep hard edge, because a shallow edge gives mosquitoes a place to hide where fish can't reach them, where if it's a steeper, sharper edge, then they can't get away from the fish. Strong slopes for drains are great, but one problem that I've seen quite a bit around the central U.S. is strong drains with a large drop-off here. This doesn't allow fish to move upstream, and if these are draining ephemeral areas further upstream that don't have water all the time, we need fish to be able to get into those areas when they do have water so that we can keep mosquitoes down. We've had our greatest successes here in Kansas using these mosquito dunks. They're basically compressed corn cob that have been saturated with a bacteria, Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis. This bacteria is specific to mosquitoes. It will kill mosquito larvae. Everything else here in Kansas can eat these things. Even people can, although I don't know why anyone would. But other organisms can eat these with no ill effects. But when mosquitoes chew on them, and they do like to, they get the bacteria in them. Over time, the bacteria will kill them before they ever reach adult, which does leave the mosquitoes in the water as a food resource for other organisms. What do I do? I do the mosquito monitoring for the state, among other things, and we use two kinds of traps. This is a sentinel trap, which is specifically for the Zika virus mosquitoes. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Mostly what we use is this one here, the EVS trap. The way this trap works is you've got this bucket here on top, and it's full of dry ice. What's dry ice? Well, it's frozen carbon dioxide. What do we breathe out? Carbon dioxide. Mosquitoes track you on your breath. So the mosquito will follow your breath trail, or in this case, the dry ice carbon dioxide trail, until they get up to the trap. And here, it's really hard to see, but there's a little tiny little wheat grain light there. It doesn't look like much to us, but to the mosquito, it produces light in the spectra that they can see that we can't, that tells them there's a large warm body there that's ready to be bitten. So in the cylinder here, underneath that light, there's a fan, and as the mosquitoes come to the light, it sucks them down into the sleeve cage. You can see all these frustrated mosquitoes inside the sleeve cage. So this trap specifically targets mosquitoes that are biting. It specifically targets those mosquitoes that will be or could be transmitting virus. My colleagues at the county do a great job of running these traps, and they deploy them in the evening, pick them up in the morning. They take these sleeve cages, there's a drawstring here, traps the mosquitoes in there, put it right on dry ice. This kills the mosquitoes instantly, but preserves them and any virus they might be carrying. Everything goes back to my lab, and my staff and I sort through all the mosquitoes. We identify them down to species level. You can see the variety and sizes and shapes of the different species here. And all those ones that carry or have the potential for carrying disease go into these vials. We grind them up, and we look for the genes of the virus to see if the virus is actually being transmitted by the mosquitoes at that time. This data goes into spreadsheets. This is one spreadsheet for a single trap. And this data goes back to the counties. We tell them how many of what species of mosquito they got, and it's all color coordinated so they know what the sources of those mosquitoes might be. There's tree hole species, there's rainwater species, there's stagnant pond species, there's floodwater species. So this way, if there is any control going on, the counties know what type of habitat to target. So we've only been trapping now in Shawnee County for 2 years. This is the 2017 data, and there's the 6 traps listed across the top. These red arrows indicate the trap nights. They're the trap weeks where we actually detected virus. And the number beneath is the number of traps that had virus in them. You can see that 2017 we had a lot of virus. This was actually unprecedented. All the traps around the state had numbers like this and even higher. It was just unreal. 2018, well, we had 1 trap on 1 night that showed positive for virus. Why? What's the difference? Well, if you look here at this graph, you can see comparison of the number of mosquitoes among traps between 2017 and 2018. The numbers are roughly the same. 2017 was a normal rainfall year. 2018 was very dry. We didn't get our rain until, most of our summer rain until very late in the year. Normal rainfall year really facilitates and promotes the populations of those species that carry the virus. The drier year was promoting different species. So we got about the same number of mosquitoes, but they were completely different species. We didn't get very many of the species that have the potential to carry virus in 2018. If next year's a normal rainfall year, it could go back. We don't know. So I said I'd talk more about those dunks. So this is the trap for 2013-2014 at the Great Plains Nature Center down in Sedgwick County. And 2013, you can see, started out very dry. We didn't have a lot of rain at all, and then rain came at the end of July, and you can see the numbers shot well above 4,500 mosquitoes per night in 1 trap. That's a lot of mosquitoes to go through. We worked with the county to start deploying dunks. So what we had was their stormwater basin inspectors, their animal control people, the code enforcement people. When we trained them how to recognize habitat and how to look for larvae, and we trained them how to deploy the dunks. And so they started deploying the dunks, and you can see almost instantly the numbers dropped off quite precipitously. We had another spike here. We found some pools near Great Plains Nature Center that we weren't aware of before, treated those, and they didn't have to treat again for the entire summer. In 2014, we did the same thing. Numbers started ramping up. They treated once, and they didn't have to treat again until August. They didn't have to treat again until September. They treated 3 times, and we kept mosquito numbers that low just by focusing on the larvae, which was just tremendous. Pesticide resistance effect. So this is Glenn County, which is not in Kansas. And this is something that I've seen in many places around Kansas where there are cities and sometimes counties where they have adulticiding programs, and they spray for adult mosquitoes. And they spray either every week or every 2 weeks from the beginning of summer to the end of summer without any data on what mosquitoes are actually doing. And they always use the exact same chemical with the direct result that the mosquitoes develop resistance. So in Glenn County, they've been spraying the exact same thing for more than 25 years. And you can see that in 2014, the blue line here, the mosquito numbers were really high. They're bouncing up and down. And this is in direct response to rainfall events. We convinced them to use something different, and we convinced them to use our data. Only spray when the mosquito populations, the mosquitoes that carry virus, go up. They sprayed once with a new chemical. All through here, they've been spraying with the same thing they've been spraying with for years. And the numbers stayed down. We had to spray one more time here in September, and that was it for the year. 2015, numbers started coming up here in June. They sprayed once, sprayed one more time in July, and then once again in October. That was it. The cost savings to that county were phenomenal. So, hope I didn't run through it too quickly. If you've got any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
You enjoy what you do, don't you? It was fascinating.
Killing mosquitoes is a fun thing.
Commissioner Archer.
Are there any positive impacts of mosquitoes on the environment? Do they
Believe
do
it or not.
anything good?
So, believe it or not, the mosquitoes, like I said, they're only biting, and it's only females when they've got eggs. The rest of the time, they're pollinating flowers. They're like moths at night, except that they're actually true flies. So the larvae here literally are aquatic maggots. But they're out pollinating flowers. And There's lots of other pollinators out there too.
Right.
But yes, that is a positive effect, number one. Number two, there's an awful lot of wildlife that feeds on mosquitoes. It's been estimated that certain species of swallows, I'm a big birder, need at least 4,000 to 6,000 mosquitoes a day to survive.
Wow.
Okay, the problem is that swallows don't just eat mosquitoes. There's tons of other insects out there for them to eat as well. There's a lot of things, a lot of ducks that love to eat mosquito larvae. Great, but then those mosquitoes are also biting the ducks, and the ducks themselves get these viruses, and it makes them ill. There are other things for the ducks to eat. So it's not, there's other, including other flies that live in these same situations that don't bite, that occur in the same numbers or even higher in certain places. And it's not, the more we knock them down, these other populations come on.
Okay, very good. Thank you for being here this
Yeah.
morning.
No, you're very
It was
welcome.
interesting.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Rogers, and thank you to Linda and to Craig.
Yep.
All right,
Good
thank
job.
you. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk. Number 1, consider all voucher payments.
The vouchers are totaling $2,390,117.55. Of note, under sales tax is $250,016.18. That is for HTK for the Expo Center, Part B. Under pass-through, we have $195,196.62 for East Topeka Learning Center with Hartford Fire Insurance Company. And then under building and maintenance, Parks Administration, actually Cartograph, that's for Parks and Rec, Cartograph Systems totaling $93,252,000.00. So if there are no questions, I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Bueller, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. Motion by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, Sheriff's Office. Number 1, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Jones regarding the purchase of radio equipment for the Topeka Police Department from Mobile Solutions at a cost of $10,483.20, with reimbursement from the Police Department due to the county owning and managing the radio system and a discount from Motorola due to the Sheriff's current contract.
Good morning, Commissioners. We are going to be purchasing equipment for the Topeka Police Department, specifically radio equipment. We have 36 Apex remote speaker mics, 16 ion portable batteries, and 36 ruggedized ion extended batteries. The reason for that, it's pretty important that the equipment that the agencies use or purchase is compatible with the system that we currently own and the infrastructure. We also do receive a discount through Motorola. We are working through some different ways that instead of us purchasing and being reimbursed, that they could go direct with Motorola and our sales rep. So we're working through that in 2019, just so you're aware.
For the record, would you identify yourself?
I apologize.
It's okay.
Melanie Burgers, I'm the Director of Communications for the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Melanie.
I'll move to acknowledge receipt.
Motion by Commissioner Archer to acknowledge receipt. I'll second the motion. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item C, County Councilor. Number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2018-65, authorizing judicial tax foreclosure proceedings.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Barrett, County Councilor's Office. Here to talk to you today a lot about tax sales. The first item up is we're ready to file a new tax sale, and the resolution before you is just the authorization we need to initiate that with the court. If this is approved, we will plan to file that on Monday, December 3rd. Right now, we're looking at 155 properties, and it's just shy of $2 million of taxes and specials and penalties and stuff owed.
Very good. Thank you, Megan. Other questions? I'll move to adopt the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries 2-0. Motion carries.
Item C2, update on the judicial tax foreclosure proceedings held on July 27th, 2018.
All right, so we did just wrap up our last tax sale. I wanted to just, we don't talk about tax sales all the time, just to give the public and anyone watching at home just a little background on tax sales. So we work for the county counselor's office. We're the civil legal department for the county. And so the state of Kansas, counties are required to sell real property having delinquent taxes, and so we go through a whole process with the court, and at the end of that, we hold an actual public auction, and the properties are sold to the highest bidder that day. And a little bit about the process, because people wonder why it kind of takes so long to get through it. It is a very labor-intensive process. As I said, we're filing this next tax sale. It's on 155 properties, and that's about the average of what we do. So we file this petition with the court. There's 155 properties. Well, each property we have to notify everybody who might have an interest in that property, whether it's an owner, a mortgage holder, there might be a lien by the IRS, the state of Kansas, child support, another lien that was filed, a lawsuit. So we have to notify all of those people and give them proper notice in their due process to make sure they know we're selling the property and they have the opportunity to come back and pay the taxes to prevent that. So we file the petition with the court, and then we go through the most long process, which is service. It takes us about 4 months to do because we can easily get 600, 700, 800 notices that we have to serve. The sheriff's office has to go out and personally serve those, or we send them out by certified mail. Once we get most of those back, we also publish in the paper and have a time period for people to respond. After we go through that, then we can get a court order we go through a hearing with the judge, we get a judgment, we set a sale date, we have to publish again in the paper to notify people, we send out letters to surrounding property owners so they know that a sale is coming. We have a very intensive bidder registration process. People have to register before the sale. They can't register the day of the sale. And then we actually conduct the sale itself. I wish I had a picture that I took of our last sale that we had in July, because we had a record number of bidders there. It was a full room. We held it at Heritage Hall at the Expo Center, so it was quite a deal that day, and it was pretty fun. So the sale that we just had, we filed this lawsuit in 2017, back in November of last year. It was against 124 properties. During the course of that case, 5 of those were dismissed. Properties can get dismissed for a variety of reasons. Bankruptcy's filed, and that gives them protection to stop the sale. Or maybe we found out that the person who owned it is now deceased and we want to make sure their heirs are properly notified, so we dismiss it and file them later in a subsequent, another suit. Also during the course of that lawsuit, 80 properties were redeemed, meaning either the owner or a lien holder came in and paid off the taxes that were owed to stop the sale. So we collected $973,000 of taxes just in those redemptions alone. And then we ended up selling 39 properties at the auction on July 27th. $514,000 was collected at the sale. $296,000 of that was paid directly towards the taxes. So our total distribution is about $1.4 million. $1.1 million of that is paid directly to the taxes and all the tax entities that are part of that. Then we have excess proceeds. That was what sold for more than what we were owed for taxes, so that money can then be paid to lien holders. If there are no lien holders, then the former owner gets that money back if they apply for it. We did get reimbursed for the expenses that the county has upfronted for various things. We have to publish in the paper, we have to get all these title reports, we have to pay an auctioneer. So that was about $30,000 just to conduct an auction, and that's about average of what we see. And then $14,000 of that just gets paid back to the county's general fund as indirect costs. We get this money through each property. When we put it in the sale, is charged court costs on top of the taxes, and that's $375. So it just helps us offset the costs of everything that we have to do. And just to give you a little background on our tax sales from 2010 to now, $11.5 million total distribution between all the tax sales we have done, and $8.5 million of that has been applied directly to taxes. And $1.4 million, again, is in excess proceeds. So again, it's helping those lien holders. If there was a mortgage, those entities can get back some of the money that they were owed. I like to talk about the benefits of the tax sale. People just think that we're going after people who are going through a hard time, but a lot of cases that some of these people, like people have passed away. There's 5 children. They don't live in the state. They don't want anything to do with it. There's just issues with the property. They can't maintain it. They've moved out. So we are helping the process of getting these vacant, abandoned homes and things like that. So Just some of the benefits real quick. Obviously, we recoup delinquent tax revenue for the various taxing authorities. The properties get back on the tax roll. We're selling, neglected properties to new owners so they can maintain it, they can renovate them, make the neighborhood better. We distribute the excess proceeds. We're clearing up the complicated title issues again. If someone is deceased and no one's going to go through a probate action, that property is just going to sit there in limbo. So this process clears up that issue. And then we address the ongoing issues of vacancies, abandonment, crime, and blight in the neighborhoods. So that is a little bit about our last sale.
Very
Any
good.
questions on that?
Thank you, Megan. Other questions?
I'd just like to compliment you. You do a good job. It's tough because you have to balance the rights of property
Yes.
owners on the one hand, but you have to collect taxes because people that don't pay their taxes, they're cheating everybody else in the county.
Yes.
So you do an excellent job, and I'm glad you brought this up. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Excellent work. Thank you.
All right. And we do have, well, I don't know if the clerk wanted to read item C, I guess.
Oh.
C3, presentation of partnership with the City of Topeka Neighborhood Relations Department using judicial tax foreclosures to address blight, promote neighborhood revitalization, and encourage new construction.
I think that's the most exciting title ever given to a presentation about tax sales. Pretty sure. I'm excited about it, actually. I want to tell you about some new initiatives that we've been working on with the city, and a partnership that's kind of been forming. We have worked with the city over the past several years. It's more sporadically. We get referrals from their code compliance office. They know a property that's abandoned or has code issues ongoing, or they know someone is deceased, and they refer those to us. But those are just really kind of random, and it's not focusing on a certain area. So we're partnering up with the city to actually focus more on certain areas and hopefully make a bigger impact. So this partnership that's been formed between the county councilor's office, the City of Topeka Neighborhood Relations Department, Sasha Hahn, who's the director, is here today, my partner in crime, as I call her, and the City of Topeka Planning Department. So this kind of started in conjunction with the Topeka Shawnee County Holistic Economic Development Strategy, which more commonly known as Momentum 2022, as you know. For those who might not know, Momentum 2022 is kind of strategic plan to kind of guide the community's actions to make Topeka and Shawnee County a better place to live, work, play, and do business. And they've formed all these different work groups that are focusing on different areas of that plan. And one of those is the Quality of Place work group. Back in May, I was asked to just present to that work group to tell them about the tax foreclosure process, and from that I was kind of adopted onto the committee and have stayed on as a member. Sasha's on that committee as well, and Bill Fyander from the city is also on there, and some police officers, people from Topeka Jump, a lot of different entities make up that work group, and it's a really great one. But some of the tasks that this committee has been working at, there's various ones, but the two ones that kind of hit home to me are expand and pursue options to address blighted properties and ensure responsible ownership, and then also to adopt a collaborative program of highly targeted neighborhood beautification revitalization. So what came of that is Sasha and I decided to kind of meet together and have just a free flow discussion of ideas of what's the city doing, how can our tax sales help with what they're doing. And from that, she told me about a lot of great city initiatives that I thought could partner really well with our tax sales. So I wanted to talk briefly about the Topeka Neighborhood Health Map, because most of their programs stem from this. It's just a planning tool to help prioritize resources. And I've provided the link there if anyone wants to check it out. So when they're looking at neighborhood health, there's 5 indicators that they're really looking at, which is poverty, public safety, average residential property value, homeowner tenure, and boarded houses. And after they look at all those indicators, they give the neighborhoods ratings of healthy, outpatient, at-risk, or intensive care. So some of the programs that they're looking at are more focused on intensive care and at-risk. This is the 2017 neighborhood health map. So you can see the areas in dark red are the intensive care, the light red is at-risk, and then the blues are, more outpatient and healthy neighborhoods. So from that, she told me about 2 initiatives that the city is working on right now. One is called SORT, Stages of Resource Targeting, and it's a neighborhood improvement program. And how I understand it, neighborhood associations can apply, it's kind of like for a grant, to get money from the city to help improve their neighborhoods. And so they make investments in intensive care and at-risk neighborhoods through this program. One's through public infrastructure, So $1.4 million is made for improvements for sidewalks, curbs and gutters, alley restoration, and things like that. And then they also give them affordable housing investment credits as well for housing rehabilitation. So there's 2 neighborhoods that are kind of going through this program right now, and I think it goes over the course of about 3 years is kind of what it takes, right, Sasha? So one is the Quinton Heights neighborhood. As you can see, it's from 21st to 27th and Burlingame to Western. And then the other one is the Tennessee Town neighborhood, 10th to Huntoon and Washburn to Clay. So those are just 2 areas we know the neighborhoods are invested in improving the neighborhoods, and the city is helping them out with that. So that's one great program that we were looking at. The other one is called Team Up to Clean Up, which is another neighborhood improvement program. The city departments have teamed up with other community partners to offer assistance and provide services, again, to targeted areas, intensive care. And kind of give you a little information about kind of what each property or what each department kind of provides assistance. Property maintenance goes out to look at citations, and they don't just go out to issue citations, but they actually talk to the homeowners to provide them resources to help them fix and get their property up to code. The fire department has come out to install missing house numbers, so, for safety reasons. They've identified vacant homes or unsafe structures. They've installed smoke detectors, I think, for free in a lot of these areas. And the police department goes around and addresses abandoned vehicle issues and provides information to the neighborhood on crime prevention. The utilities comes out and they've tested and repainted the fire hydrants, checked the alleyways and the storm drains. And then the public works department goes out and inspects sidewalks and curbs and gutters. So there was 2 neighborhoods that they focused on last year through this program. One is Historic Old Town neighborhood, and then the other is Central Park neighborhood. And then I've been told for next year, there's 2 more neighborhoods they're going to focus on, which is Ward Mead and East End neighborhood. So through these just 2 programs alone, we've identified 6 areas that the city is working on. So we thought we could help with this and target those neighborhoods through a tax sale. So we've looked at 3 of them so far: Quinton Heights, Tennessee Town, and Historic Old Town. And we were able to come up with 107 properties alone in just those 3 neighborhoods that are eligible for a tax sale. So we have referred those properties, and we'd hope to file a tax sale on those ones next year. We're also still looking at the other 3. That's quite a larger area, a lot of more houses that we have to look at. So to be continued, but we definitely want to refer those in the future. So I didn't know if Sasha had anything to add to any of those initiatives, or if you had any questions about that portion of my presentation. Because the next portion, also through Sasha's and my discussions, we kind of talked about this ongoing issue of vacant lots, either vacant because there was a house on it and the city had to tear it down for whatever reason, or a lot of undeveloped subdivisions where the contractor just never, maybe they're gone now, they went out of business, but there's a lot there, it's collecting specials, it's not being mowed. We typically don't put a lot of lots just in our tax sales because of the marketability of them, so we're trying to figure out a way, how can we market them? And so we kind of came up with this idea of having just a vacant lot sale but they're going to be buildable lots. So what we did is our office identified every single lot in Shawnee County, Topeka, that is vacant and also is eligible for a tax sale. It's at least 2 years delinquent on taxes. We ran this list through the city planning, and they identified which lots are actually buildable, they're not in the floodplain, there's no dimension or setback issues. And then we're kind of also looking at existing city programs and initiatives like the neighborhood revitalization program. If people are building in that area, as you know, we just approved through that, they can get a 95% tax rebate over 10 years for making improvements. And also they have a Topeka buildable prime vacant lots map. I'll show you these. So they've identified lots, they're more on the outskirts of the city limits, but they're already identifying as buildable and prime. And we decided we wanted to take this first to the Topeka Area Builders Association, because who's going to build? Builders. So we've been working with Ivan Weichert with that association, and he actually invited us to come out to their annual meeting, which was on November 15th, to just kind of gauge the interest. And so I presented there along with Dan Warner from the City Planning Department. He talked to them about the Neighborhood Revitalization Program, and we got a lot of good interest from them. We had these maps kind of blown up to show them kind of the potential, and we saw people over there looking, taking pictures, so it was kind of getting pretty exciting. This is the map that we actually divided up into 4 quadrants for them. This is every single lot in Shawnee County that is vacant and eligible for a tax sale. As you can see, that's quite a lot. Now, not all of those are buildable potentially. They might have setback issues, they might be landlocked, but that's why we're trying to focus on the buildable lots. And this is that Topeka buildable prime lots map that I was talking about. And you can see on the outskirts, the red are the ones that have had streets brought to them. And then the blue ones they haven't had streets, but they're still vacant lots and still probably in a good location. So when we presented this to the builders, we're wondering what are the benefits for them. Obviously, rebates. If they build in the NRP area, they can get their tax rebate. We're going to give them a clear title if they have. The big issue right now with those properties is the specials that have accumulated. We can wipe those back specials off. Now they're going to owe the ongoing specials, but a lot of these specials that have accumulated since, a lot of them I think since 2015, a lot of them, it's just prohibitive for them to sell it to anyone at this point or even pay it off at this point. The low prices, obviously, for selling it at a tax sale, it's going to go for a lot cheaper than potentially fair market value. And then the reduced expenses, we're really trying to market to them is that we're going to pick lots that are already in established neighborhoods. The infrastructure has already been brought out. They're not going to have to go through the process of plotting it all out, getting the streets and the utilities all out. It's already going to be there. So they should hopefully be shovel-ready lots that we're going to be putting in this sale. And then the benefits to the community, obviously the first and foremost, the new owner is going to be responsible to maintain the property. So the city or the county isn't going to have to go out, mow it, get calls about environmental health issues. And hopefully the owner will actually be maintaining it at that point. More building is more local jobs for construction. Once they build, it's going to make these neighborhoods, it's obviously the point of what we're doing here, the neighborhood beautification and revitalization. More affordable housing inventory options. That's a big thing that our work group at Momentum 2022 has been discussing, that there is a lack of certain affordable housing options and certain price points, so hopefully this will help with that. If we're going to try to attract more people to come live in Shawnee County, obviously it will increase the overall property values if it's going to be valued at a vacant lot versus a now house. That's going to be a big change. And then that would then overall increase the overall tax base. So kind of our timeline and our next steps. As I said, we've already presented to the Topeka Area Builders Association to kind of get their stamp of approval. We're here today, obviously, to present to you. The next step is we have a meeting scheduled on Monday to meet with the Topeka City Manager to kind of go over this presentation. Sasha and Jim and I will be there with him. And then tentatively what we're slated to do is kind of give this exact same presentation to the Topeka City Council to let them know this is what we're doing and making sure that they're on board with it as well. Sasha and I have also had discussions to present to other groups, so our work group, to make sure they're on board. Potentially the NIAs and the areas that we're targeting, so they know that we're looking at, putting properties in the tax sale that are in their areas. We think it might be a good idea to market this to realtor groups so they can get the word out about our vacant lot sale, and then maybe the chamber and Go Topeka boards. So for this pilot program for the lot sale, we would hope to select about 50 parcels. We want to keep it on a smaller scale just to make sure we really vet these properties very heavily and make sure we're picking the right ones and seeing what happens with it. We're going to hopefully come up with a greater marketing campaign than what we do in typical tax sales to make sure everyone knows the information about each lot and everything is all up front and out in the open, and kind of even update our bidder registration process, because we just really need to ensure that the people who are going to come and bid aren't somehow associated with the owners of the current lots. They're owned by businesses and you're not really sure. They're prohibited by law to come and bid on their own property at the auction, obviously. So we're going to have to kind of ramp up our vetting process on the bidder registration as well. And then we just want to make sure we time it right so that we would hope that any suit would be filed so that the auction would take place in early to late fall, and that would give the builders time over the winter to do what they need to do, and then hopefully they could start building on some of them the following spring, summer. So, any questions on that?
No questions, but just comments. Great teamwork, great collaboration. Just very much appreciate it. I mean, those vacant lots into homes, it's more assessed value for the taxing entities, for the school districts, for the county, city. So that's really important, but great work.
Thank you.
That's
well,
really
we're hoping
awesome.
that it works out, and we're excited to get it underway. But we're trying to spread the word.
Good deal. Thank you, Sasha, for being here too. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next
Item
item.
5, administrative communications.
Are there any administrative communications? Kurt? Kellen?
Good morning, Commissioners. Kellen Seitz, Spectra Venue Management, Kansas Expo Center. I wanted to give you a quick update. After Thanksgiving, everybody goes shopping. We participate in that shopping extravaganza, although not on Friday. We participate in the Cyber Monday sales. So I wanted to give you an update on how that went. In one day alone, we sold just shy of $24,000 worth of event tickets on Cyber Monday. So there were 6 events that participated in those sales. Very happy with those results and looking forward to those events coming up. So this week we have 2 events going on at the facility. So we have Festival of Trees that starts today and runs through Sunday. And then we have Topeka Pilots Hockey returning Friday and Saturday of this weekend. And then we are just 1 week out from Mannheim Steamroller, which is doing very well. There are still a few tickets left, so make sure if that's something you want to go to, you put that on your calendar and come check us out. Thanks.
And nice tree at the Festival of Trees. Thank you. Check it out.
Good morning.
Morning.
Courtney House, Director of Public Works and Solid Waste. This coming Saturday is a special Saturday. It's the first Saturday of the month. That means our household waste facility is going to be open. It's located just east of the roundabout on Topeka Boulevard and North 46th Street, about 300 feet east of there, south side of the road. It's a great opportunity for individuals to get rid of their hazardous waste, motor oil, batteries, paint, et cetera, et cetera. So we hope to see you. We won't be open for business in January, so we hope December is a big month. Thank you.
Kurt, while you're up there,
Yes.
just, I know we received several emails about the great work that the County Public Works did out in the unincorporated areas of the county for snow removal. So I hope you passed that on.
I did.
To
Yes.
those people. They did a great job.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Excellent.
Anyone else? No? Okay. Commissioner Archer, do you have
I was just going to say, very informative meeting. Thank
Yeah.
you, Megan and Sasha, for being here, and the professor from KU. It's interesting what a short agenda was such a long meeting. And everybody be safe. It looks like we've got more snow coming in, and please be safe on the roads. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure Shawnee County Extension had their annual dinner on Monday evening, I think that was. I can't
Tuesday.
remember. Tuesday. You were there. Thank you. Just great event. They took the time to just thank all their volunteers and for all the important work that Extension does. So was very appreciative to attend that event. And then I had the honor of judging trees at the Festival of Trees. And so be sure to check that out for all those proceeds go to sheltered living. So, and we hope Commissioner Cook is back on Monday because I think we have a pretty long agenda with a conditional use permit on that agenda. So anybody else? Anything else? Okay, next item.
Item 6, executive session.
And I do not believe there is a need, so we are adjourned. Thank you.
Can you tell me why Kevin wasn't here?
I
Had a